reach and receive the message at dawn. The surrender was not very surprising, but this supremacy is then the fire, the flame of greed and hatred. Constantly attacks of the conquered crowds, constantly more violence against the innocent, constantly demand for more power. He wouldn't stop until everything belongs to him. He was constantly to recognize Suffering years went by.